Hi there. Welcome back to the Curious Cat Kitchen. I am Kat, and today I'm actually going to show you another way to make tofu. I'm trying to increase my protein intake with all the talk about protein and how much is needed, and how, especially as we go through perimenopause, how important it is. So I'm trying to get in as much protein as possible. And being um, mostly plant based, uh, to get enough protein makes it uh, makes it a little bit more challenging. And also, I have been noticing that you know I've expanded over time, and I'm not sure if it's because of going plant based, and therefore I intake a lot more carbs than I did before, or it's because of perimenopause, or the combination of both. But I have noticed more and more, my body has expanded, and it's not looking how I had thought it looked. It's kind of one of those reels where is like, uh, what is it? It's like what you see, what you think, and reality versus reality. It's like, oh, I think I look like this, and then it's like, oh no, I don't. So I've come to those moments. So I do want to be more intentional, about building my body, keeping it strong, making sure I'm getting enough protein. Having variety and ways to eat something is very important. So, this is one of those meals that I'm going to show you where I'm kind of cooking on the whim, seeing what I have. Like I said, I already kind of looked in my fridge. I was like, okay, well, I have a block of tofu, so I can, that's my protein. And then I'm like, well, what do I want the tofu with? And then, of course, noodles, my go to, which is probably the reason why my carb intakes has increased, because I eat noodles a lot freer than I used to. I just love noodles. Like, I love noodles. So it's my go-to. So I'm going to be doing. I know I have noodles, tofu. And I wanted the tofu to have kind of like, a different texture. So I will show you another way that I use tofu, and it's delicious. So let's grab the block of tofu. So first of all, this is, you have to bake it. I'm going to be shredding the tofu, putting it, seasoning it, and then just baking it in the oven so it dries it out. But I don't want it completely dried. I just want, it gets to a point where it's like, has a little bit of chew to it. Because the outside edges are more drier, and then the inside still gets that bounce, and just like, it's just a different texture. So I knew I wanted to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I have my block of tofu and my grater, and we're just going to grate the tofu. You can crumble it. There's just so many ways. You can shred it. You can crumble it. You can just like break it into chunks. And each way gives it a different texture, gives it the texture that you want. So tofu, this is extra firm. I usually buy extra firm just because I know I want a firmer texture in most things I make. And you just grate it down. You don't have to drain this one or anything. Or I mean, not drain, but press it. You definitely want to drain it, but um, you don't need to press this. You just do it like it is, because in the oven it's in smaller pieces, so it will dry it out. To that part is not necessary. Going back to protein and how it's just necessary to make sure you get enough. And, I already make sure I do it, but I think, like I said, my incorporation of carbs is a lot higher. I definitely find that before I went plant based, I would eat a lot more leaner, meaning veggies, a little bit of carbs, whether it be rice, noodles, quinoa, something, pasta, and protein. fish usually or chicken. Don't really do beef, but you got it can be more of a lighter meal without more protein and less of the carbs. And I think also I've let myself go in the sense of just um, like I just want to eat what I enjoy and cook and enjoy it. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying that I look bad or that I'm not sexy anymore. I still believe that I'm sexy, but I'm just not as um I'm just not as I imagined. I'm just not as I imagined I was. So you just grate it like this, and then you're gonna season it. Season it with whatever you want. I think I'm gonna do noodle soup. I think this is literally how I create. So I don't know yet, but I think I'm gonna do a noodle soup. So I'm gonna do salt. I don't know what broth yet, but I think I want to do like a Chinese 5 spice on the tofu, maybe some cumin, so some garlic powder. So I always do my basic um, garlic, onion, salt, and almost everything, pepper, and then the rest is what I throw in to just change up the flavor. So I think I'm gonna do some smoked paprika. Do I want smoked paprika? Do the Chinese 5 spice and the cumin. This is cumin. So you have that all in there. So I did Chinese 5 spice, cumin, salt, pepper, garlic. Probably needs a little bit more sauce, more salt, but no, I think I'm gonna, when it comes out and I toss it, I think I'm gonna toss it in some hoisin sauce since I have the Chinese 5 spice. The smell of the Chinese 5 spice actually made me think of the hoisin sauce. So that's what I'm gonna go with, hoisin sauce. And then I don't know what broth I'm gonna do, but we will see. So this will go in the oven that I already preheated at 400 degrees. How long you have it in there really depends on the texture that you want. So you can kind of play with it, engage with it as you go. Try check it for like I said, at 20 minutes, and then see if it's brown, see if it's at the consistency you like, and then use your gauge and keep checking on it to see when it gets to the consistency that you like. I'm still trying to decide whether I want rubbing my belly because I'm hungry. Um, I'm trying to decide what sauce I want. Um, I want noodles, so more. I'm thinking I have. I think I'm gonna do gochujang for the miso since I don't have miso, and I'm gonna do some peanut butter with it. We will see. Probably chop some garlic. Actually, I'm gonna do some garlic and some ginger. Um, might add a little bit of this in it. So originally, when I started thinking, I want to talk, I usually have so much thoughts in my mind, so many downloads and realizations and understandings um, that I think about, and that's what I wanted to talk about. With my intention of talking about it when I started doing this channel. But a lot of times I find maybe it's harder to, since I'm not trained, harder to cook and talk at the same time because I need to tell you, obviously what I'm making, but also to continue a train of thought while doing something else. It's challenging because I always have all these thoughts like, oh, I want to talk about that. Things I see. Like one of the big things that I really am passionate about is connection, human connection, the need for it, the lack of it that we're having, and you know, is not just romantic connection, but in all ways, just to be able to socialize and talk to different people, hear different stories, have different perspectives, and learn from each other to help each other grow. Um, I think that's so important, especially with the age of AI and what is to come of AI. It's making human connection even less. So ginger, to peel it, an easy way, even though this is a little bit of a old ginger, I'm gonna peel it, like scrape it with a spoon. I promise you, when it's newer ginger, fresher ginger, where the ginger is hard and not a little bit pliable, um, it's a lot easier. So yes, big part of that I'm passionate about is connection. I curate events in South Florida that focuses on connection through my food and through some Mary Jane. Um, but I want people to find ways to come together and connect because I believe that there is a need for it. There is such a need for it. There's so many people that are just lonely and there's not enough places. I mean, now you see more and more. There's different apps and stuff where you can go meet people of similar interests for a night and then see where it goes because it is needed. And but at the time when I started it, this didn't exist, and now there's more and more places doing more and more apps and companies doing it. And I'm seeing it more. So I know I was onto something, but I'm still very much passionate about it because, like I said, I think connection. We're losing connection. It is proven because we're just all on social media, um, and I lost my train of thought. See, uh, because because so I'm gonna just heat up. Oh, almost forgot about the tofu. I'm gonna heat up this pan because I'm gonna put those to do its thing, so I can make the broth. Connection is so necessary for our well-being. Like we're literally we are like we thrive on connections. We learn through connections. We learn through other people because it's all about because life is just our own perspective. Like how we see life is just through our own lens. So if we're just surrounded and we don't have connections and we're just with me or yourself, you won't be able to see the other perspectives of this world because you're just living in your perspective. There's no other ways that for you to open up to see. Connections with other people gives you that ability to grow, the ability to have different perspective, um, the ability to understand about other people's perspective, right? So connection is so necessary. And I think the older we get, it's even more important because I think there's now more single people of all ages, but there's a lot of people in my generation, 40s and up, that are coming out of marriages, coming out of long-term relationships, uh, and are now again dating. But dating nowadays is so different than back in the day. Like I don't know, it's just there's so many changes in the world as far as the rise of feminism and our autonomy, our independence, and then there's all these different talks of men are like this and women are like this, and like there's so much fueling the gender war. Everything you see is like, oh, if you meet, like today I saw someone had sent, how women argue, and it was like a video of a couple that was filming content on a beach, and whatever. It was just stupid. It was just like the argument started, but the point of showing the video was like, oh, this is how women are. So if you have a woman like this, run fast and blah 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 blah, and then you know, again, categorizing women. But I looked at it and I was like, the issue, the problem, the real problem, not who's right or wrong. The real problem is the fact that these people in the video were more concerned about their content for social media than their life right there. They were like on vacation. So people were saying it was in paradise, obviously nice beach on vacation. Instead of enjoying that place, that moment, that time together, they are so focused on catching content. And had they put the same amount of effort into themselves and their relationships, not just romantic, but all relationships, but the relationship with themselves, had they focused more on that, like that argument wouldn't even have happened on either end. So I say that to say it's we're losing touch with connection and with reality. Everything is about what we show to others and how we appear instead of actually doing the things that we need to do in our lives to live to live a happy life. See, I get talking and then I get it. I have a thought. So I'm gonna do a little bit of sesame oil. I'm gonna cool this off a little bit. Um, but no, I think it's just it's saddening to me to see, like, instead of people coming together and just finding someone, like, going back to dating, finding someone that is aligned with who they are, what they want, their values. Um, but instead, we're all like listening to what's out there, what expert is saying, what who is saying, what this is saying, what instead of just like, what do I want? What do I need to work on to get what I want? So, um, yeah, lost my train of thought because I'm cooking and doing something else. Um, Let me turn this down and I'm gonna add some miso. I said, we're just gonna see how this tastes because I really don't know. But this is miso is, as I said before, is fermented soybean paste that is spicy. So it's in place of if I were to do a miso broth. My tofu has been in there for about 40 minutes. That's the only thing. It takes a little bit longer to dry it out, but you can do other things as that is cooking, so it's not taking up that much. Add some water so it doesn't burn. Let that cook. If people would just, if all of us, I think if all of us could just focus on ourselves, on our own growth, and on what we want, what we're looking for, our values, what our boundaries are, just to know what we want so that we're crystal clear. And then, and then so we can also just be real, like, just be real. It saves people time. Like this whole thing of image and facade and so peanut butter, um, it just is, it's nobody got time for that. It's tiring. It's so much easier when you can just be real and be yourself. And it's like, this is me, take it or leave it. Because who I am and who you are is always going to be there. It's a part of you. So if the person cannot accept you for who you are, that is whether you put a facade or a mask on, it's eventually going to show. So if the person that you're attracted to, you like, a friend, whatever, that you get along with, cannot accept that, then you know that it's not gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna last anyway. So why not save each other time, our time that is so precious, and our energy that is so precious, to just being real? And it's like, oh wait, this is okay. Give the person the full picture and give them the choice to say, yeah, I can deal with this. No, I can't. And of course, other things are gonna come up as you get to know each other. That's natural. The more you share, but your who you are at the core, your integrity is going to shine through regardless. Um, so it's like, just save time, connect, get to know people for them, for their, and as I say this, I'm also speaking to myself, to get to know people more, as them, as who they are, not for any purpose, not for any intention of something more than just getting to know this person because you find them interesting and there's something that is drawing you to them. So find out what it is and be interested on just who they are. Oh, I don't know if the hoisin sauce. I said I was going to do hoisin, but I don't know if that's going to taste good with this broth that I'm making. So we'll see. With no other intention than just to get to know another person because it's another human being and we are they are the same as us because they're a human being. They might have had different experiences, but those different experiences can be used as learning, as growing, as seeing something different and seeing a different perspective. It doesn't have to be labeled good or bad. It is just what it is. Their story, their experience, their life. And then, sometimes when you speak to someone, they could have such a different, they would have lived such a different life than yours, right? And this is what's great about connection. Someone else you talk to have completely different walk of life, everything different, could not be more different than yours. But yet there are healings and times that they gone through that you can relate to and vice versa because it's how you felt. The circumstances is irrelevant to a degree because it's just how you felt, how it made you feel. So if you go to that, break it down to that bare minimum, we all have the same feelings because we're all humans. So we all have felt the same way, regardless of what the situation that put us in that feeling is. So just on that basis alone, we can relate to each other and we should have empathy for each other because we know how what that feeling feels like to us because we've gone through it. So just having connection and getting to know someone based on just who they are, that they're a person that you find interesting and that you want to get to know. And, you know, who knows what comes out of it? It can be anything, whether it's friendship, whether it's relationship, whether it's business opportunity, whether it's just for you to learn something in that moment or in those and in that span of time from that person and them from you. I think it's what life is all about. So, oh, okay. I think I'm going to pull this out because there's some parts that are starting to crisp and dry up. I think I may have put this in a little bit longer because I was looking for the browning of it, forgetting that I didn't put any sauce on. Make it really brown that much. This is just me eating it. So, all right. So that is out of the oven. Don't know what I'm doing with it yet. Oh, the ginger. Oh, that went like maybe I should have put a little bit less ginger. Some salt, a little bit of soy sauce. Forgot my veggies. Let's cut the ends off. These tend to have sand. I'm gonna put this in water. Let me add some milk to it. We'll see. So, oh yeah, this is crispy. A little too crispy. I did let it sit longer than I wanted to, but it's okay because I'm putting in a broth. Um, it works because the soup will rehydrate it. Mm. So this type of tofu is also um, because of the chewy texture that it gets when the oven dries it out. I also put it in my meat mixture. So whenever I do ground meat mixture, I do walnuts, mushrooms, and this type of tofu. So then you have a mix of different flavors of, the chewiness and some harder pieces of the tofu. Well, you shouldn't have harder pieces. And like I said, I overdid this one, but the chewiness of the tofu and then the slight soft bite of the walnut and then the mushrooms, the softness, meatiness, and kind of like fattiness of the mushrooms. So you have three different textures going on in there. Ooh, this is really crunchy. But just like I was saying in the last episode about tofu, I love how versatile um, it is, especially with more and more people coming up with different ways to transform it, to transform the texture of it, and to make it into something else. I think it's fantastic because, if this is a big source of your protein, you need to find different ways to eat it. Um, Tempeh is a great source of protein too, but I've had it a couple of times. I'm not a huge fan. So, all right, I've broken this down. This has a little bit of sugar, some sweetness, so not a lot, but a little bit. It's not super sweet either. Just a touch of sweetness, much more creaminess to it. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That made it much better. So I just have some baby bok choy that I had in the fridge from the other day. Just washing it. And then I'm just going to throw it in the broth. I'm going to throw it in a bit because I need to do the noodles and the sauce. I don't want it to overcook. I still want it to have a crunch. I am going to do sauce because I can't think of another sauce to do right now. Some hoisin sauce. Put a little bit of water just to thin it out. And then I think I'm going to add a little bit of maple syrup. Even though hoisin sauce is a little bit sweet, I just want to add a drop. Just a little drop. All I'm doing is just tossing it in some sauce to coat it and heating up the sauce a little bit. Just to mix that around, make sure it's all well coated. A lot of times this is how I might see something that looks good or that has gets a craving of mine going, and then once these are good. Once I get that craving going, then my mind will kick in and be like, ooh, what can I do with this? Is really good. See? This is how things get created, because this is really good, and then my mind will start going, well, based on the texture and based on this, what tastes good with this? Looks like meat, right? So then, yeah, I start thinking, well, this tastes good, like this. What can I make it with? I'm gonna boil the water for the noodles. I could just put it in the soup, but because noodles has that starch when you boil it, I don't want my soup to have all that starch. So I'm gonna do the noodles separate and then put it in. I just have to say, those tofu crumbles in the hoisin sauce that I wasn't gonna put the hoisin sauce in are so good. Like, I can just pick and eat at them, and because of the texture, I can even eat them as a snack. It's so good. But this is how I love finding things like this, because then it sparks the creative juices within me, and be like, ooh, what can I do with this? This is so good. And just trying things. It's just about trying it. You don't know unless you try. Like, literally, is one of the oldest saying. You don't know unless you try, because how can you know? Anything that you don't do is just a thought, a hearsay. You haven't experienced it to know. So you gotta try it. As long as you won't lose your life, like, it's not um gonna harm you in any way. I don't see, and we're talking about cooking, so of just trying things that you like together and seeing how it works. If it doesn't taste good, then you might have wasted something, which is not good, but it might be delicious. And I don't think there's anything that you can do that would be taste well. I haven't experienced any combinations that are so horrible that I would be like, oh my god, I can't stomach it. Yes, I've had creations that I was like, oh, well, it's not very good. It's not my best creation, but still edible. Waiting for the water of the noodles to boil. Put the noodles in. I think I'm gonna squeeze. I had half a lime in my fridge, so I think I'm gonna squeeze a little bit of it in the broth. Idea to not ruin the whole thing. You take a little bit of broth, means a drop, and then taste that. Interesting. Very interesting. I think I'll put a little bit. That was probably a little too much drops for the little bit that I have. So maybe just a couple drops in there. It's tough for a foodie, someone that loves food and loves the flavor of food. Like I wish I was someone that could just eat for fuel. Like I have friends that are like that. Like they don't really care what they eat as long as it doesn't, it doesn't taste like shit. And it tastes good, but they eat for fuel. Like I wish I could be like that. I eat because I love food. I love the flavors of it. I love how it tastes. I love how it feels, the texture. So I eat because I love to eat. Um, but I think the advantage I have because I love food, but because I'm also so big on wellness and nutrition and what we eat, that I'm able to combine the two, the creativity of and the love of food, my creativity to be able to still have the flavors that I want that makes my taste buds dance. Like still have that, but find ways to make it healthier. And I think that's where I find so much joy in is and why the creativity part of it for me that sparks me is the fact that you can take something that excites you and then find a way to make it so that it is also good for you. So, you can indulge, you're not losing flavor, you're not losing the enjoyment of it, but you're still nourishing your body. So that that makes me happy to do. Obsessed with these noodles at the moment. So it is almost ready to boil, and then they don't take long to cook. So I'm also gonna go ahead and put the veggies in the broth. So once again, my mic went out without me knowing, but the noodles are done. So I'm just going to show you how to plate it. Just putting the noodles on a plate, adding the broth with the veggies. Adding the shredded tofu. And there you have it, my create as you go meal. I'm about to dig in because I was starving at this point. And the verdict? I would definitely make this again. And now I have a video reference of how I created it, which is my biggest issue most of the time, is that I forget what I made, what I put in it, just that it was good. Anyways, I do not remember what I was saying here, but as always, I thank you so much for being here and thank you for joining me on this journey. I much appreciate it. And I really do hope that this inspires you to get into the kitchen more and to make more of your own creations. And don't forget, like, comment, share this page. Until next time, stay curious.